Okay, Santiago. What do you
Yep.
think about Israel, Brisky?
The Israel and Palestine situation.
Yes, bruh. What else would I be talking about but
Um,
Israel?
if I had to say, like, I feel like the wars at this point is kind of dumb because I think at first it was more just fighting terrorists, but at this point it's just like stop the fighting. Y'all been fighting since like the biblical eras. At this point, it's just getting old. I
So
guess
it
you could
went
say.
from fighting the terrorists and having like a
So
point
like
to the fighting to just fighting for no point.
Yeah, basically just like
it
it's like
it
a
went
toxic
from
relationship.
fighting to the terrorists to becoming the terrorists.
But basically,
That's
I
actually a
mean
really good
that's
point. I've never heard it phrased like that.
I'm so smart.
Most intelligent
Amanda
thing I've
really
ever
said
heard bro
something right
say.
there.
Most
Like
intelligent
at
thing bro's ever
this,
said.
yeah, I mean at this
I'm
point,
so
like
big brain.
Okay.
they're literally like Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars. They're meant to like destroy the terrorists. Next thing you know, they become them. I mean, it's
Oh,
sad to see, but there's really nothing you know the UN or NATO can do because
I mean, we could
at
nuke
the end of
them.
yes, because that's
But
very humane.
yeah, that's like
It worked with
very very
Japan.
good. Yeah,
I'm
let's
I'm pretty
start another.
I'm pretty
Let's start
sure
other
there's gonna be
wars.
some laws broken.
Ugh, war
I mean,
crimes.
Let's.
Naughty
we
game.
can't just sadly we can't just drop nukes on all our problems.
Bro, that would make things go by so much faster.
It would though.
Like,
Yeah,
Let's all be
Russia's
real.
invading Ukraine, just nuke them. Boom, no more.
overpopulation wouldn't be a problem.
Oh,
Okay, back on topic. Back on topic, challenge. So, like, Santiago,
Hmm.
what? So, wait, you're with Palestine, right?
Yeah.
So, like, why are you with Palestine?
Like I understand, like they're really messed up because of all the terrorist groups. But like I don't know. I mean, because I've looked through evidence and I've sort of been kind of siding with Israel just because. But then I see some of the stuff Israel does to Palestine, and
It's
I wouldn't do
inhumane.
that on my worst enemies. Yeah, like it's.
All right, with
But
like the
yet
whole
again,
targeting kids part.
yeah, like, it's just like, yeah,
that's
okay,
like
target the
why?
terrorist. Yeah, like, okay, go for that. But don't target some freaking fetus because he was a part of it. Like,
Like
or
a
not a part of it, but
Just
just,
because like his uncle's one, don't like don't
yeah,
do that.
don't freaking cut off the bloodline.
leave the civilians out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, kill the terrorists, go for that. But don't leave the civilians out of it. They did nothing to you.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
But at the end of the day, I think it's all just stupid what they're fighting at this point.
They're just
it
fighting for
is.
nothing.
It's like a
It's like
toxic
real dumb.
relationship. They're always fighting, but for some reason they can never like get off each other. It's
Because in
they
the
really
end,
gotta hop
it's
off.
really just gonna end with Palestine still being part of Israel, except them just being madder with each other.
It's either here's how
Probably.
it's either gonna end up. Either one of them's gonna get like just absolutely depleted of resources and like manpower, or
Palestine
it's
gets
just
independence.
yeah, or freaking the NATO or the UN just gets tired of all of it and they step in. But the chance of
Just
that
like
is kind of zero.
yeah.
I don't think
NATO
there's really a
does.
reason for the UN to step in. Because like all it
Yeah,
does is it get them involved in a conflict.
and next thing freaking
It's like global
Russia,
war.
Russia or China or any one of those countries is gonna step in on the other side and just to be,
Yeah, because
little
it just
douche.
because all it does once like UN gets involved is it just makes it for like a big fight between the major powers. That's all
Because
it
that's what
is.
happened in Vietnam. That's what happened in Vietnam.
I remember
Russia
what it was
or the
like back in Nam.
Soviets were like boosting the Viet Cong, while the UN was just I forgot what the other side was called, but they were just
Mainly America and its
like
allies.
all it was was just two giants clashing, and that's what could happen with Israel and Palestine if the UN does join.
which just wouldn't be good for anyone. It just
At the end of the day, more lives would be lost and more blood would be shed.
yeah, that makes
Uh,
sense.
I,
That's some nice phrasing there.
yeah, I mean, I think they should just like hop off each other's meat for 1 second and like do
Amazing phrasing.
something else other than fight.
I think in the end, I'm gonna be on Israel's side. Just-
Yeah, like work on your government instead of fighting another government.
It's not even another government. It's just terrorists. 'Cause terrorists
It's
just
just
help
Oh,
terrorist
Palestine.
groups.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't pay attention to politics, so
yeah. I don't know.
Now, I
should we
guess
cut that out?
yes.
Yeah.
I guess Israel did give them a warning, like, hey, get out of here, or unless you want to get absolutely kaboomed. But and Palestine decided made a big blunder by putting their
9/11
bases
moment.
by elementary schools.
Oh my,
Okay, bro. No, no, because now we're getting canceled.
it's all your fault. This is why we can't have nice things.
I know. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, so how do you see it, Michael?
I see it really as Israel is just putting down a rebellion the same way as the Civil War. That's what I see it as. I see it as the Civil War, because
Yeah,
because I
that
see
makes
it,
sense.
yeah.
That makes
Because
sense.
I see it as Palestine is full of terrorists and they don't want to be with Israel because it's mainly because, in my opinion, I think it's because most of Israel is Jewish, and then
Mm-hmm.
most of Palestine is Islam. I think it's really
Yeah,
just
it's a
So like
culture battle.
religion,
yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's
like a religious battle.
yeah, it's just people fighting over because one side wants what the other also wants, and they can't both have it. So
well
that's what I think
now.
really.
Now I know not all of us are Christian and stuff, but I'm gonna just mention this now. In the Bible, it does now. Correct me if I am wrong, but I believe in the Bible it talks about how like in Christianity, like, hey, God said like, hey, that's really the only religion that you should follow. Anyone who else decides like not to follow some sort of Christianity should just be like killed.
Yeah, I
So I
think
think
that's what it
that
said.
could be really like I think that could be really putting in an impact to why Palestine is doing that, because it goes against the Jewish goes against their religion. Not necessarily because what they did to Jesus and the whole Judas situation, just because of like how the religion's basically saying like, hey, anyone who's not Christian should just get out of here.
And then you
I
also have
think
to like
that's
yeah, you also have to take into consideration that from like an Islamic view or like a Middle Eastern view, essentially what happened is the big superpowers up in Europe essentially decided just right as World War II ended, they just what was it 48 they decided 1948 they were just like yeah, you know what, we're gonna put all the Jews in Israel and they're gonna be right there, screw you, is essentially
yeah
what they see it as. So to them, it's just Israel invaded and took their land, and they're just taking it back. So from an Israel like a Palestinian,
Islam.
yeah, from an Islamic point of view, all you see is you just see them essentially fighting for what they believe is theirs because they believe it's theirs from the beginning. And then
Yeah,
but then you look at the Jewish point of view and you see persecution, genocide throughout pretty much their entire existence, and then they're given a safe place to live, and as soon as they're given that safe place, the Islam doesn't want them there because they believe it's theirs. So I think that's really where it stems, not like the religious
Yeah,
hatred or
that
anything. I think it's
that
really
that
really
just
makes sense.
I think it's
Yeah,
really just Islam. The Islam culture had that land, and the Palestinian nations had that land, and then suddenly a Jewish country. Not only does it clash with their religion, but to them it was unfairly given to them, and they really don't have
yeah
a right to it. Is what I think it comes down to.
that could also be a big thing. That's actually what happened with a lot of like whenever England was trying to freaking rule all of like the world, and the next thing you know, all these mad tribes and natives are getting like pissed at them because it's just these random people from God knows where just decided to show up and say that this land is theirs, even though like the natives inhabited it way before everyone else. So
Yeah.
it could just be a situation of that, and they're just rebelling because,
And
you know,
then yeah, the religious clash just adds on to it.
it's just
It just
added more
yeah,
fuel to the fire.
it intensifies it. Yeah, that's really well said, actually.